जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jai Jagannath Jai Jagannath Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Ajnanvirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutabadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswate Niti Namine Shrivarshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabde Krishna Sambandha Vigyana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojjala Premadhya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Badambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandana Gaurashakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gauravirbhava Bhumestam Nirdesha Sajjana Priyaha Vaishavasara Bhauma Shri Jagannatayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahamadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishay Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupagam Bhaktavataram Bhaktankyam Namami Jat Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jaitam Surator Pangur Mamandamatэрgati Matsarasapadaambojau Radha Madana Mohana Divya Dvrundaranyakalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Rashralivise Vimano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivata Tatastita Tarsham Veno Saner Gopir Gopinatha Shriyastunah Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanosute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फला सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैक त्रिप्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभो कलिद्वांतोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठान्य प्रेम वर्षक्षरायते सर्वंदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते मदैकबन्धो मत्सङ्गेन मद्गुरो मन्महाजन मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानन्द नमोस्तुते असाधु साधुता आदायन्नति शोषितारक अनामुञ्च कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्नारित्कण्ठयो स्पृहा. So welcome all of you to today's class. We are on the fourth day and we are discussing Haribol. Fan band. Fan band. We are discussing the fifth chapter, and yesterday we discussed some very interesting points. That is how Vyasa, after writing all the Vedas and Mahabharata and Purana, and he was so dissatisfied. Then Narada tells the cause of dissatisfaction directly. He says the cause of your dissatisfaction is that you are not described the pastimes of Krishna. Yatha dharmadhyascha, as long as you are not described the pastimes of Krishna. Bhavatan anita prayam yasho bhagavatomalam yenivasuna tushyeta manyeta darshanam kiram. In the eighth verse, essentially, he is telling that you are not described bhagavato amalam, yasho bhagavato amalam. Now, Vyasa may say that I have described the pastimes of Krishna in the Puranas. I described the pastimes, not pastimes, I described the Krishna Tattva in the Vedanta Sutra. Then he says, even though it is Vedanta Sutra, but if it is not talking the pastimes of Krishna, that darshanam kilam, that philosophy is not very relishable. Now, anudita prayam, almost you are not described. And then he says, no, I have described the pastimes of Krishna in the Puranas, like Padma Purana, Vishnu Purana. Then Vyasa says, yeah, you are described definitely, but you are not described as much as you are described Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha. So these four things are described in the Vedas, Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha. So Narada tells Vyasa, the quantity of description of Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha is more than the quantity of description of Krishna's pastimes. That is why Yatha Dharmadeshchartha Mune Viryani Kirtitaha, 9th verse. Na tata Vasudevasya Mahina, na tata Vasudevasya Mahina, to Anuvarnitaha. And we discussed a lot on this point, on this word called Anuvarnita. Anuvarnita means, even though you have described the glories of bhakti in the Bhagavad Gita and different places, bhakti is superior to mukti. Only those who are liberated souls, they get bhakti. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Vyasa has written, Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kanchati tam sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktin labate param. So bhakti is attained by the person who is already liberated. But the problem is he has not repeatedly told this point. That is why many people don't know, after reading the Bhagavad Gita also, that bhakti is beyond liberation. Even muktihi muktirandra syat sevate sma. When the devotee is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is relishing the pastimes of Krishna by reading Bhagavatam, the Mukti Devi is standing at the door of the devotee and she says, please allow me, I want to serve you. He says, I don't have time. So Mukti Devi is waiting for serving the devotee, but the devotee is not bothered about it. So the entire Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu starts with this scenario of explaining that a bhakta is more glorified than a jnani, because bhakti glory is expressed by a devotee. The glory of devotion is glorified by a devotee, because a devotee, when he has got devotion in his heart, he says, Dhiyamanam na grinhanti. Even though Dhiyamanam means even though he has been given Saujya, Samipya, Srasti, like that, all the 5 kinds of liberation is given. Even the 5th kind of liberation, that Saujya, is not accepted only by devotees. Even though they are given the other 4 kinds of liberation, that is having the same opulence of the Lord, same planet of the Lord, same form of the Lord. So these kind of nearness to the Lord, they all don't accept it. The devotees reject devotion. The devotees reject liberation because they are experiencing something higher. Why they acquire? So that point has to be repeatedly told in a book. So Narada, whole purpose of speaking all these verses to Vyasa is to make him write Bhagavatam, in which every akshara is filled with prema. Every word is indicating to the glory of the Supreme Lord, the glory of bhakti, and the description of Supreme Lord. So the glory of bhakti has to be described throughout the book. Anuvarnitaha, again and again it has to come. So, and then 2 verses came, very beautiful. The negative descriptions of the Lord, of the glories of the Lord. Description of the glories of the Lord, but in a negative way. That means those words which are not decorated by the yasha of the Lord, by the glories of the Lord, then they are known as Vayasam Tirtha Mushanti Manasa. We're just having a recap of what we did yesterday. Vayasam Tirtha, pilgrimage of prose. Now, on the other hand, you have the descriptions of the Lord in spite of they not being properly composed. Tadva Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yaspin Pratishlokam Abadhavatyapi Namananantasya Shonkitani Shunvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhva. So those who are sadhus, they Shunvanti Grinanti Gayanti. Srila Prabhupada, he gives a very emotional purport to this verse, because he knows in this verse Narada is predicting the appearance of ISKCON, appearance of or predicting Prabhupada translating the Bhagavad Gita. And I gave 3 proofs that how this verse is the prediction of Srila Prabhupada translating the Bhagavatam and then going to the West and establishing ISKCON. Janata Agaviplavaha. Never ever a revolution has happened in the mass of people by studying Bhagavatam. Revolution in the sinful life of the people has never happened. In the entire history since Bhagavatam was written, it happened only when Prabhupada wrote it. Number 2, whenever Bhagavatam was presented, it was presented by scholars in their own native language. So there is no much discrepancy in the linguistics, in grammar, in literature. Whereas Prabhupada himself accepts that there are so many discrepancies in my grammar because English is not my native language. It's not my mother tongue. So the third one is Shrinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhavaha. Great scholars, leaders of the society, they are accepting Bhagavatam. Now, we did not find in the past 300, 400 years, great scholars had come, but they did not accept the Bhagavatam as a whole and soul, life and soul. Very few, not many, the line of Chaitanya. Now, after the 5th, 12th, 11th verse, we discussed about 12th verse. Naishkarmyam apyachita bhavarjitam nashobate jnanamalam ranjanam kuta punaha shashvata badrameshware nacharpitam karma idyapakaranam. What to speak of this? Even transcendental knowledge, Naishkarmyam, means that knowledge which leads you to liberation. Api achyuta bhavarjitam, without devotion to Krishna, nashobate, there is no value for that. Jnanamalam niranjanam kutaha, then what to speak of fruity work then? Because na charpitam karma yadyapya karanam. Even karma which is offered to Lord, which is offered to the Lord, if it is not having achyuta bhava, bhakti, what is the use? So in this way, karma yadyap karanam, those who may be very liberated, but still if there is no bhakti, they'll fall down. Aruhya kuchena param padam patantyadaha. Now, Aho Mahabhaga, after practically telling Vyasa that you have done something very useless, whatever literatures you have written is all nothing but pilgrimage of crows. Then he's trying to encourage Vyasa, saying that and describing Vyasa, you do what I say. 13th verse talks about the instruction. Aho Mahabhaga. It is not that what all you written is useless. There is some purpose. That is only to bring a person to the level of pure devotional service. Mahabhaga. And you're also Aho Mahabhaga Bhavan Amogadrik. You have very good vision. Nice vision you have. Amogadrik. Sujishravaha. Your Suchi, your character is very pure. Satyarato, Dridhavrataha, Urukrama Syakila Bandhamuktaye. You remember with attention. Samadhinanusmarata Dvichestitam. You constantly remember the past tense of Krishna. We go to Samadhi. Like I told you yesterday, Vyasa does this thing. He follows this instruction given by Narada. After the entire conversation which between Narada and Vyasa in 5th and 6th chapter, at the beginning of the 7th chapter, that is what Vyasa does. And he sits in Samya Prasa, and then Bhakti Yogi Namanasi Samyak Pranite Mare, and he is drowned in Bhakti Yoga, and then Bhagavatam is revealed to him. So the Bhagavatam is a revelation to Vyasa. Because the Lord, Urukramasya, Akila Bandha Muktaye. Akila Bandha Muktaye means what? He has a potency to deliver all the people who are bound. Now, starting from the 14th verse, that is what is the subject for us from today. 14th verse. Very important verses, interesting verses. Ato kinchana yadvichakshavaha vichakshataha pratagdrishastat nama rupa nama bihi nakarhichit kwapi chadusahita matir labeta vata hatanorivaspadam. Of course, we discussed this verse yesterday, but still. Now, after talking about the positive statement in the 13th, the 14th, the negative statement version is made. Those words which are not having descriptions of Supreme Lord, tato anyatha kinchana yad vichakshataha pritagdrishaha tat kritanama rupabihi. It takes only different forms, these words. Na karichid kwapi sacha dussatamatir labeta. Those who read those literatures which are not describing Krishna, their mind will waver like a boat in a ocean. That is why what all things are there apart from bhakti to the Lord, they are not going to give any stability to the mind. Now, 15th verse. Jigupsitam dharma kritenu shashata sabhava raktasya mahanvatikramaha yad vakyato dharma itaratastito namanyeta tasya nivaranam jana. Very, very interesting verse. If you pay attention to this verse, if you see Vyasadeva completion of different Vedic literature on the basis of regulated performance fruitive activities as depicted in the Mahabharata and other literature is condemned here and by Vyasa. Narada. Narada is condemning. Oh Vyasa, you wrote all the Vedas. You wrote the Mahabharata. You wrote the Puranas, thinking of the benefit of the people. Actually, you thought that you were going to benefit the people by writing them, but you actually made them degraded by writing them. How? Vyasa says, Narada, oh my dear Lord, oh my dear spiritual master, I wrote the Mahabharata. You know why I wrote? I'm also intelligent. It's not that I'm not intelligent. I know bhakti is the only thing which is beneficial for the entire world. But people are not interested in bhakti. What I should do? What I did was, I uh, I wrote in the Mahabharata about things which people are interested in. Generally, people are interested in what? They're interested in two brothers fighting. That is why if some two people are loving, nobody is interested much. Two people are fighting on the road, oh, everybody congregates. Like you are driving in a car, you find there's about 200 people are just made a circle and watching something. That means surely two people are fighting. When two people fight, people watch. They talk about it. When two people are loving with each other, nobody bothers about it. When two people fight, people, and that too, the fight is within the family fight. Oh, gar gar ki kahani, very nice. So Vyasa told, oh Narada, you are a sannyasi, what do you know? What do you know to preach? People mind are so much attracted to so many things. But I know a yukti. I know bridge preaching. There's something called bridge preaching. I don't know how many of you know about it. It is very famous in ISKCON. Bridge preaching. We will teach yoga and attract them so that they'll become Krishna conscious. Because I am a devotee, and when I teach yoga, people get attracted to yoga. While getting attracted to yoga, they don't know they're getting attracted to me, and from me they're going to get devotion, and they get attracted to me. So when I chant, you'll also chant. So in this way, people think that I'll do bridge preaching. Uh, Bridge preaching means there's somebody who is that side of the river, you're in this side of the river. So you build a bridge. What do? You go that side and then bring them this side. So Vyasa told, I did bridge preaching in Mahabharata. I wrote the dispute between two brothers attracted everyone. And know what happens while reading the Mahabharata? It is so much of politics is there, so many interesting stories are there. They go on reading, and in the middle they come to Bhagavad Gita and read the Bhagavad Gita and do Sarvadharman Parichiddam Amekam Saranam Vajja. They'll do surrender to Krishna. That is Vyasa's argument. Then hearing this, Narada says, my dear Vyasa, I know that you are very intelligent. Namostate Vyasa Vishala Buddhe. Your intelligence is not ordinary. I know that you have written the Mahabharata, only God can write such a book. Of course, you are God only, God's incarnation. Shaktavish Avatar. It is not easy to write Mahabharata. What to speak of even reading it? When you read, you'll be completely amazed. So many characters, so perfect description, so much of dharma has been described. Aha, what a book it is. But Narada says, Jigupsitam dharma kritenu shashataha. Jigupsitam dharma krite anushashata. People are jigupsitam dharma krite. Jigupsita means the very condemned sense enjoyment you written there in Mahabharata. And all that too on the name of religion you written. People are irreligious and enjoying senses, that's a different thing. Now, what you have done is you have given a license for people to enjoy by writing Mahabharata and Vedas, because they can be religious sense enjoyers. Wow. We only knew people, either you should be religious or you can be sense enjoyer. Now, people chose to be sense enjoyers. And some people felt bad. How can I become irreligious? And what did you do? You gave the Veda, you gave the Mahabharata, by which they can be religious sense enjoyers. It is more worse than before. By giving Veda, people have become spoiled, because they got an opportunity to tell that we are religious, at the same time continue their sense enjoyment in material existence. They can sleep under the blanket of religion. They say we are religious, we are pious, but at the same time continue their sense enjoyment. You are given opportunity for them. Vyasa jigupstam dharma krite anushasataha. Now Vyasa may say, no. The purpose of I giving sense enjoyment is like I giving a bait for the fish to get them out of the samsara. I give the Mahabharata, so that gradually they study the Mahabharata, and in the middle they come and read the Bhagavad Gita, and then they become devotees, and then surrender to Krishna, give sense enjoyment. Then Narada says, Vyasa, remember, the tendency of sense enjoyment, the ignorance of the conditioned soul, is more powerful, more stronger than your intelligence. I repeat, my dear Vyasa, the tendency to enjoy, the people's tendency to enjoy this world, sense enjoyment, is more stronger than your intelligence. You know what they are going to do? Swabhava raktasya man vitikramaha. Because of the swabhava to enjoy matter, swabhava raktasya mahan vitikramaha. What they do is they go on reading Mahabharata. Oh, wonderful! Oh, wonderful! When Gita comes, all boring. Chalo na, and they go further. They will not read that. I tell you a small story. One mother, a child was sick, 7, 8-year-old boy, always interested in playing, and he was not well. He is supposed to be given a medicine. The doctor has given a medicine, but the medicine was very kadua. Whenever the mother gave the medicine, he just spat it out. The mother was thinking what to do. This boy likes sweets a lot. So she brought rasagolakam. And then what did she do? She put that medicine inside. Somehow pushed the medicine inside. And that was nice rasagolakam was there. And she told, oh beta, please come. I'll give you this rasagolakam, please eat it. So he took the rasagolakam and then went to play. And evening, the mother called the boy and asked, how was the rasagolakam? Then the boy told, oh, Mata, my dear mother, rasagolakam ativa madhuram, kintu tad bija ativa tiktam. That is why I spat the bija out. I ate the rasagolla, but in the rasagolaka, the bija was very bitter. Rasgulla was very nice, so I spat the medicine out. So that is what people do. That is what people do. What they do? Whenever you find nice, wonderful stories or some dharma, sense enjoyment in the Veda, the Mahabharata, they read that. But when it comes to giving up sense enjoyment, the restrictions, tasya yad vakyato dharma itaratastito namanyeta tasya nivaranam jana. Nivaranam. Wherever there are restrictions, wherever there is control over sense enjoyment, they say it's not for us, it's not for us. It is for those people, Langu Pangu people. It is for those people who are not interested and not able to enjoy, not able to do karma, not able to work hard. Oh, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is called Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. This is all for those people who cannot, who are not successful in life. For them, becoming sadhu, brahmachari, and all for whom, those who have failed in the exam, intelligence is not proper, maybe they might have some divorce. For them, ashramas are there. Otherwise, actually, Veda says you should be a grahastha, you should have children, you should nicely enjoy them, enjoy material life, and you put your children in the best of the schools, and better you send them to a Christian missionary. No problem. Let them eat eggs, do anything. Somehow they should get into IIT, or get into America. They should have girlfriends. They should drink liquor. At the same time, go to temple once in a while, get blessings of the Lord. Dharma krite anushasataha. So, in this way, swabhava raktasya namanyeta tasya nivaranam jana. When you say, wow, who is going to spread dharma? We need to have some brahmacharis in the ashram. We need to have sannyasis also. No. My son is very good. Why you should become a sannyasi? Why you should become a brahmachari? I'll tell you, there was one boy in the Anath ashram. He has no place to stay and he's not getting a job. Better, why don't you preach there? You preach in the Anath ashram, you'll get a lot of brahmacharis. Are baap. Many people advise me like that. Roji, why don't you go and preach in the Anath ashram? Because anyhow they are anathas, so they'll become brahmachari. Whatcha? That means those who are joined as brahmachari are anathas. Of course, everybody is anatha in this world. Anyway, I don't want to get into the point. The point is here. They say that those principles in the Vedic literatures or those instructions which are nivaranam. Nivaranam means where there are descriptions to give up sense enjoyment. They say that This is only meant for those people who are crippled. Sannyasa and brahmacharya is meant for whom? For those who are not able to make their living, those who are frustrated in their life, for them, Pangu, Pangu, for those people, for those who are able to come up in their life, struggle hard, struggle for existence, for them, these instructions are not for them. That means the Sarvadharman Parityaja, this verse, this is meant for those who are not able to do anything materially good. This is not meant for others. So to such an extent they give their Rakya, that is called Karamimamsa. These Karamimamsa people, they say that in the Vedas there are two things, karma and jnana. What is most important? Tell something practical, Prabhu. You are going on talking about Krishna for 1 hour. What is the use? Tell something practical, Prabhu. Tell something. What nonsense practical? Is there anything more practical than hearing about Krishna? So this is called Karamimamsa philosophy. These Karamimamsa philosophers, they are so much into so-called practicality. They want something to do, something practical, practical instruction. So they say the instructions in the Vedas, which are doable, they are superior to the descriptions. In the Vedas, the descriptions are absolute truth. Whether it's philosophical or pastimes. Now, they say that ultimately Vedas are instructions. So the instruction part of the Veda is more important than the description part of the Veda. And they give your own scripture. What is your scripture called? We are Vedantists, we are Vedantic people. Our scriptures are Upanishads. So in the Upanishads, they say Isha Upanishad. Isha Upanishad, second mantra, what it say? Kurvan neveha karmani jijivishet shatagum samaha anatvaitanyatatosti malipyate nare. This is shatagum samaha. You should live for 100 years. Kurvan neva yaha karmani. You should do all karma and live for 100 years. That is what even Upanishads are telling. And you are talking about Brahman, changeless. You're talking about the Lord, transcendental modes of nature. Lord is transcendental modes of nature. This is one statement. You should perform Agnishtoma sacrifice, which is more important. Krishna is transcendent to the modes of nature. It is only a description. You should do Agnishtoma sacrifice. It is a practicality. So practicality is more important. So it's a fight between two kinds of people. The Vedantists, we are Vedantists. On the other side, you have Karamimamsa philosophers, the Karmakandis. So they say practicality is more important. We say descriptions are important. And they give an example from our own scriptures called Upanishads, and then say, Kurvanna eva he karmani jijivishet. Live for 100 years by doing karma. Then our argument is, oh, my dear Karamimamsa philosophers, did you read the mantra properly? That is, Kurvanna eva. Eva means as described in the previous verse. What is the previous verse? Previous mantra telling, Isha Vasavidam Sarvam Yat Kinchit Jagatam Jagat Tera Tektena Bunjita Makidakasya Sriddhanam. So this is talking about everything belongs to Krishna, description. So descriptions are more important because karma is based on jnana. Without knowledge, you cannot do any karma. In this way, our argument goes on and on. This is how Vedanta Sutra starts. This is the biggest bomb on the Karamimamsa philosophers. Jigutsitam dharma kritena shashataha svabhava raktasya mahan vatikramaha yad vakyato dharma itratasthito navanyeta tasya nivaranam jana. For those people, it's a big slap. So Narada is actually on the Nivritti Marga. So there is always a constant fight between the Nivritti Marga and the Pravritti Marga. That is an exploitation of the fight is always a tug of war between the congregation and the brahmacharis. You find it in this. I don't want to get into the details, but the point is, this there, theoretically it's always there. One, people say duty. Other side say nonsense. It's all nonsense. Just give up, surrender to Krishna. So this tug of war always been there. Narada is belonging to we belong to Narada's party, and people belong to Daksha's party. So there's always a tussle between those who belong to Daksha's party and those who belong to Narada's party. It's like BJP Congress. In the Vedas, right from the time of dawn of creation. So Narada belongs to, actually we belong to Narada's party. So Narada is saying, Vyasa, you may be intelligent, but you know, those people who got sense enjoyment, they are more powerful than you. Their attachment to sense enjoyment is more powerful than your intelligence. So when it comes to Bhagavatam also, they read the stories very nicely. When the prayers come, when the philosophy comes, too long purpose, go further. Let us go to the next story. Prayers are gone, philosophy is gone, everything is gone. Stories are there. Wow, wonderful pastimes. Nice story. Oh, what a lecture. Oh, beautiful, nice jokes. What a joke it was. What is meant for? What was the joke meant for? I don't know, but the joke was very good. At the end of the lecture, what you remember is only the joke. And you make a joke out of yourself. That is what Narada is telling to Vyasa. You wrote the entire Veda thinking that you did a wonderful work, but you made a joke of yourself because the Mahanatikramaha. Jigupsitam dharmakriti anushatata swabhavaraktasya. People's swabhava is that they want some jokes, they want some entertainment. So you are giving that entertainment thinking that this entertainment is going to attract them to Krishna, but they are not going to. They will only take that entertainment and go away. That is why, be careful if you are doing some bridge preaching. Because Narada put a big bomb on the bridge preaching and told, just be straightforward. Like Prabhupada was straightforward, that's all. Of course, tactful. You need to be tactful. It is not that you cannot be tactful, but you need to be tactful. But don't think other people are not tactful. Their ignorance is stronger than your tact. So, I think I've spoken enough on this verse. Let me go further. 16th verse. Now, somebody say, Vyasa is crying practically. And he's telling Narada, oh, please, if I write a book like this, which is only containing devotional service, glory of devotion, glory of Krishna, and it's exclusive talking about giving up sense enjoyment, exclusive attention to Krishna. If I write a book, who will read it? Nobody is there. Nobody is going to read. Then Narada tells Vyasa, don't worry. There are some good people existing on this planet. Vichakshano, very expert people are there. Very good people. Vichakshano syarhati vejitum. They are waiting for such scripture, Vyasa. There are people in this world who are waiting for Bhagavatam, who are waiting to relish pure rasa, pure spirituality. They are waiting for it. They are not getting it. Vichakshano syar arhati. For those places who are actually qualified, you write. Anantaparasya nivrutita sukham anantaparasya. Because they know Krishna is anantapara, is unlimited. The Lord is unlimited. So by taking shelter of the Lord, you get unlimited pleasure, not limited pleasure. Your soul cannot be satisfied by limited pleasure, limited pleasures of this world. So people are hankering. There are people in this world. That is why Srila Prabhupada told Krishna consciousness is meant for the class. That is what is mentioned. Vichakshano syarhati vejatum vibhor anantaparasya nivrutita sukham. Now, somebody may ask a question. Then is Bhagavatam meant only for those people who are very intelligent? Intelligence means not to compromise with happiness. That is called intelligence. If you are compromised with the quality of happiness, that you are a fool. Because the soul can never be happy when you are compromised with the happiness. Like a student is very happy with getting pass mark, 35 marks. I'm so happy I passed. Mother gives a slap. I got a slap in my childhood because I gave the progress sheet to my mother. Mommy, I have passed. You know what? How much I got? I got 45th rank. And in that, in 3 subjects, it was just passed. Maybe teacher must have taught compassionate. I must have got 32 out of 100. You must have got 3 grace marks and 35 marks. She gave a slap, black and blue. Half an hour went on beating me. It's not child abuse. It's our love. Because I was happy getting pass mark. So it is foolishness. Vichakshano syarhati vejatum anantaparasya nivrutita sukham. Somebody may ask, is it only meant for those people who are very, very intelligent? Bhagavatam is only meant for those people intelligent. What about others? Those who are anatmanaha, those who are not interested in spiritual life, in spirituality. Anatmanaha. Now Vyasa says, Narada says, don't worry. Pravartamanasya gunair anatmanaha, those who are not having spiritual knowledge, those who are foolish. What these people are going to do, vichakshanaha, those who are intelligent, they are going to study the Bhagavatam, relish the Bhagavatam, experience the rasa of Bhagavatam, and they are going to speak it out. So when these people are going to speak the Bhagavatam, those who are anatmanaha, tato bhavan darshaya cheshtitum vibho, only those people, they will also follow suit. As the Prabhupada says, therefore, those who are not well situated to the material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization. So there will be shown the way for transcendental realization by those who have realization. That is why Bhagavatam is meant for both kinds of people. First for the classes, other for the masses. Your classes and your masses. When your classes get attracted to Krishna consciousness, the masses will automatically follow. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he do? He came all the way to Jagannath Puri just to get that one Saramachari. He went all the way to West Bengal, East Bengal, Bangladesh. At that time it was East Bengal. There he met Tapan Mishra and told him, come to Banaras. And his son became a Goswami. And practically he was the leading Brahmin at that time. And all the kings, Rajasthani kings, were surrendered to Gopal Bhatta. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Tapan Mishra's son. So in this way, you find we are hunting for people who are class. Class means they are not interested in sense enjoyment. Not that they are IIT or IIM or something. That doesn't mean class. Class means this thing. Vichakshana means they are not satisfied with this insignificant happiness coming out of matter, from women, from wealth, and they're just hankering out. Something higher is there. Anantaparasya nivrittat sukam tato bhavan darshaya. Show them the way. So that is how Bhagavatam also begins. In the first chapter it is described. Dharma projita kaita votra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vaidyam nirmatsaranam vaidyam. Who can understand Bhagavatam? Nirmatsaras. Now, first canto, second chapter. When Sutta Goswami is glorifying Sukadeva Goswami, what is it? Karunaya, Sansarinam, Karunaya, Purana. It means meant for Karunaya. Sansarinam, Karunaya, for Sansaris also. So, Bhagavatam is relished by the people who are vichakshana, who are intelligent, and who are given up all pursuits of material enjoyment, and they are qualified to relish Bhagavatam. When they relish Bhagavatam and they realize that Bhagavatam, when they go on relishing it, they put their mercy into the Bhagavatam in this realization and then give it to those people who are anatmanaha. In this way, the entire world will become devotees. That is how Narada's plan is. This is Narada's plan. He finds out where is that? Where are the Vaishnavas? Where are the sons of Daksha? Let me go and find. Oh, let me go and see where other people are. He just goes on finding on people to make them into devotees. One-to-one preaching. That's the best. Shivakshana Thakur preached to one person, Prabhupada, one-to-one only. It was not a big auditorium, thousands of people have come. That is why in our programs, we don't bother about how many people have come. We just bother about that one or two people who will just surrender, who just can relish Bhagavatam. Of course, count is there because in organization, you need to go number of books, number of people, number of temples. Numbers are important for organization. But in spirit, numbers are not so important. What is important is that vichakshana, who is relishing that transcendental literature, who has given up that the spirit tendency to enjoy, and out of relish is giving the taste of Bhagavatam to thousands of people. Okay, now Srila Prabhupada writes the purport. Let me read the purport, second paragraph. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost theological science, and therefore it cannot it can react on the layman as medical dose. Because it contains transcendental activities of the Lord, there is no difference between Lord and the literature. The literature is factually literary incarnation of the Lord. The layman can hear the narration of activities of the Lord, so they can hear. Thereby, they can associate with the Lord and thus gradually become purified from material disease. The expert devotees also can discover the novel ways and means to convert the non-devotees in terms of particular time, place, and circumstance. So you can do that. Prabhupada gives an example. Novel ways. But be careful. Novel ways doesn't mean that you build a bridge and you cross the bridge instead of they bringing you to this side. Devotional service is a dynamic activity, and expert devotees can find out competent means to inject it into the dull brains of materialistic population. Such transcendental activities of devotees of the service of the Lord can bring newer order of life, the foolish society of materialistic. So two kinds of people are always described. One who are expert, other is foolish. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his subsequent followers exhibited expert dexterity in this correction. By following the same method, one can bring the materialistic man of the age of quarrel into the peaceful life and transcendental realization. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he found intelligent people. And these followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also found intelligent people who are described as Vichakshanaha Nivritat Sukham, and for them, Prurtamanasya Anatmanaha. For Anatmana, they inject Krishna consciousness to them by different ways and means. Okay, go further. Beautiful verse. Tektva swadharman charanam bhujam hare bhajanna pakpat patet tado yadi yatra kvava bhadramavutamushya kim kovartapto bhajatam swadharmataha. Now, Narada's verse. See, what Narada spoke in this verse is exactly opposite to what Krishna spoke in the third chapter. In the third chapter, Krishna says, Na buddhi vedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam jotset sarvakarmani vidvan vikta samacharaha. A vidwan means one who is a very learned personality, vidwan. What he should do? He should not disturb a person who is anatmanaha. Who is karma sanginan, who is into sense enjoyment. Don't disturb. Like a young boy comes very enthusiastically to a brahmachari, and then he gives one card to the brahmachari. Says, Prabhuji, please bless me. Please come and bless me. And why? I'm getting married. Oh, is it so? What should I give? What blessings I should give? Prabhuji, just bless, na, please bless. Okay, I'll bless. When is the marriage? So just next month. Next month. Suppose if you die before. This is what a brahmachari says. So don't give any marriage invitation to brahmacharis. Very dangerous. They'll talk something like that. You'll be disturbed. That is why Krishna said, don't do that. Na buddhi vedam janayet. Of course, it is true. Did brahmachari say something wrong? Anybody can die anytime, isn't it? So, if you speak the philosophy to the brahmachari, what that person is going to get married, he will have a shock, he will have a heart attack, he will really die to know only. And sometimes say, oh, you're getting married. Do you know these days girls, you don't know what they are, gone. On the day he's giving you a marriage invitation, you talk something like that. So Krishna says, Na buddhi vedam janaye, don't confuse people, don't divide their mind, because he's so focused. For him now, that lady whom he's going to get married to, Mamekam Sharanam Raja, it is Harekam Sharanam Raja. For he's just thinking like that now. And on the way you come and say, oh, you don't know whom you are surrendering to. Do you know who is she? What is the guarantee? She has not roamed with other boys. Gone. Then you are disturbed. So Krishna says, Na buddhi vedam janayet, ajnanam karma sanginam, yotse sarvakarmani, engage him. Oh, you are getting married. Wonderful, wonderful. Why didn't you sponsor some prasad for the brahmacharis? Oh, definitely after getting married, engage. Both of you get engaged in Krishna, engage in service of Krishna in Krishna. So somehow you are getting married. The purpose of getting married is to salute Krishna together. Very nice. You can preach that also. That is what Krishna says. Do that. But Narada says, forget about what Krishna told. Do what I say. Tektva Swadharman. Brahmachari, Prabhuji, I am not qualified to be Brahmachari. Is it? Are you qualified? You are not qualified to be Brahmachari. Are you qualified to be Grahastha or what? Forget about it. Join. Later on, we'll see. Many people have joined. Just first join first. Just surrender. Tektva Swadharman Charanambucham Harer. No, I am not qualified. Krishna is there. He will make you qualified. Who do you think we are qualified? No, we are not qualified. So, bhajan apakvaha, even though you are not pakka in Krishna consciousness, just give up. Patet tato yadi, even though you fall, you will not fall down. Even though you fall down, at least you spend few years in complete Krishna consciousness. You have no other obligations. You are just serving Krishna whole day and night. Oh, that bliss is so wonderful. What is the use of becoming a donkey? Working like a donkey in that company, working like a donkey in this, and getting some money out of it, and spending all the money in the cosmetics onto your wife. What is this nonsense? Oh, this is what Narada teaches. He says, Tektva Swadharmam Charanam Bhajam Harer Bhajan Napakvat Patet Tato Yadi Yatra Kvavabdhara Uttamushyakin Kuarta Apto Bhajatam Sudhamta. What is the use? Somebody may say, oh, if I do this thing, then what about the sin of not taking care of my parents, sin of not doing my duties? Then another verse comes into picture, which is coming later. Just wait. In the 11th canto, 5th chapter, this verse comes. Devarshi Bhutattarina Pitrinana Kinkaronayam Rinicharaj Sarva Atmana Sharanam Sharanyam Kodo Mukundam Prirtakartam. Devarshi, Bhutapta, Ninam, Pitranam, Nakinkar, Nayam Rinicha Rajan. All the Rina will be completely gone for one who has surrendered to Krishna. Krishna will, you serve Krishna, Krishna will take care of all your Rinas. You want to speak of this. Suppose you owe 10,000 rupees to somebody. And now you have become a sadhu. You raise your hands. No bank account. Only you have only coupon. Dhoti and kurta are also you taken somebody from somebody. Some brahmachari forgot. You just wore the dhoti and kurta. And police will come. Hey, where is your 10,000 rupees? You have to come to the court. You go to the court and say, Hare Krishna, I have nothing. The judge will say, Sadhu ban gaya, jao, milega nahi. Parita kartam. So, Narada says, why worry? Krishna will take care. Just surrender. So I'll read the purport, beautiful purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, as for the duties of mankind concerned, the innumerable duties. Every man is duty bound not only to his parents, family members, society, country, humanity, other living beings, demigods, etc., but also to the great philosophers, poets, scientists. It is enjoined in the scriptures that one can relinquish all such duties and surrender unto the service of the Lord. So if one does so and becomes successful in the discharge of his devotional service to the Lord, it is well and good. But if so happens sometimes that one surrender himself onto the service of the Lord by some temporary sentiment, and in long run, due to so many other reasons, he falls down from the path of service as undesirable association. There are so many instances in this of this in the histories. Bharat Maharaj has obliged to take his birth as long as a stag due to intimate attachment to a stag. He thought that this stag, when he dies, he thought of the stag when he died. As such, in the next birth, he became a stag. Although he did not forget the incident of the previous birth, similarly, Chitraketu also fell down due to his offense at the feet of Lord Shiva. But in spite of this, the stress is given here to surrendering onto the lotus feet of the Lord, even if there is a chance of falling down. Because even though one falls down from the prescribed duties of devotional service, he'll never forget the lotus feet of the Lord. Once engaged in devotional service of the Lord, one will continue the service in all circumstances. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that even a small quantity of devotional service can save one from the most dangerous position. There are many instances of such examples in history. Ajamil is one of them. Ajamil in early life was a devotee, but in his youth he fell down. till he was saved from the Lord at the time of death. So in this way, we have this beautiful verse spoken by Narada, which talks about abhajatam sarvatam and swadharma. What is the use of abhajatam by persons who do not worship the Lord? Abhajatam swadharmata. Okay, we'll stop here for the first session. Questions. You said Srimad Bhagavatam is for classes and masses. Sometimes they said we should speak Bhagavatam according to the audience. Can you please put more light on this? Definitely. Srila Prabhupada in the previous purport, if you see the purport of Jigutsaptam Dharmakrite Chakshano, 16th verse, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that thereby they are able to associate the Lord and gradually get purified. The expert devotees also can discover novel ways and means to convert the non-devotees in the terms of particular time and circumstance. Definitely. If you are sitting in the Bhagavatam class where you are brahmacharis, like a Bhakti Vaibhav class, I am speaking all these things because it is a Bhakti Vaibhav class. Now, if I had to speak the same thing to another audience, I would speak the same thing but in a different way. Content will be the same. Without any compromise with the content, you present according to the audience. Different loads for different folks. Also remember, not every preacher can address all kinds of audience. There are some audience, some kind of preachers can deal with. There's some audience, some kind of preachers can deal with. So, it is a preaching is a very broad word. That is why even in the traditionally also there is Vyasakuta and Dasakuta. Vyasakuta means you speak the scripture, Shastra is more there. Shastra will be more prominent, Sahitya will be less. Kavya will be less. For those people who are more emotional, though intelligence is not so much, emotional people, for them you keep Kavya ahead and Shastra behind. So that is why a devotee should be very expert in first finding out who the audience are and then present it accordingly. But in both the cases, Shastra cannot be compromised. So it is whether you are going to do Shastra Kavya or Kavya Shastra, that is all depending on the audience and depending on your nature as a preacher. There are some preachers who are very articulate in describing they use and somehow make sure that the point is put across. But there are some people who just speak to the point and they are not very articulate in their descriptions. So they are keeping Shastra ahead, Kavya behind, and some people take Kavya ahead and Shastra behind. So it is up to you that what kind of nature you have, and number two, what kind of audience you have, and ultimately what kind of audience you want to, what kind of people you want to get into your temple. That also is one of the important things. Like for example, you have a small temple and you need a lot of funds for that, and you need a lot of brahmacharis to come and join. You cannot just go on going to the villages and then giving some kathas. So that also has to be very kept in mind. I'm talking purely from the management point of view. That if you are a president and if you are leading a temple and you are just going village to village and doing some katha, and you have to build a 10 crore, 15 crore rupees project, and you have only two people who just puja, and you don't have brahmacharis to maintain the enthusiasm in the congregation, what are you supposed to do? You have to go to some college, or at least go to some high class people and then get them interested in Krishna consciousness and Krishna Bhagavatam. So it all depends on the person also. It is a very personal, individual perception. Okay. What is the request? Speak class point audience. Can you please throw some? This is what I can throw. Question. Number is also important, as this is Srimad Bhagavatam is supposed to bring about revolution, which means the masses has to be affected. Although also the mission is to make Krishna conscious the world religion, and as masses can't take to pure enlightened Krishna consciousness, so bridge preaching for masses is required. But for doing so, a high class devotee is required. So we need the classes to preach to the masses. Both are required. In the class, we who lead, and the mass who follow. I think I have spoken the same thing. Maybe you are preaching to the masses, and somebody preached to you, that is not able to do that. But we should make sure that what Narada has told Vyasa, that it is a tendency of the people that Mahan Vetikramaha. If you see, Jigupsitam Dharma Krite, Swabhava Raktasya Mahan Vetikramaha. The Swabhava is so strong, so strong. By somehow you are connecting to Krishna, but you get some Sukriti out of it. But be careful. All the whole hard work which you have done, if it is not carefully done to connect the masses, they will just only take what is required for them and then go off. What to speak of other things? It happens in our own temples. You have a speaker who is very expert in cracking jokes. You have 100 people sitting in the class. But what they take out of it is only the joke. They remember the joke, but for what purpose the joke was spoken, completely not understood only. I don't know. I have seen in the 20 years such kind of audience and such kind of speakers. So I'm telling out of my experience. And this verse, Swabhava Raktasya, has to be remembered. Han Vitikramaha. It has been happening. So it is not very easy. As I told, as Narada has told Vyasa, my dear Vyasa, people's intelligence, people's attachment to sense enjoyment, it is more stronger than our intelligence. So you should be careful. We are not against. Srila Prabhupada himself gave a lot of scope for innovation. But innovation, with one who is innovating, he should be keeping this these points in the background very strongly. Otherwise, we will be left with only innovations and then forget the essence. Of course, this is a very big debate which goes on in ISKCON, orthodoxy versus innovation. And maybe I'm towards an orthodox person coming from such a background. So I may be tending towards that in my classes. If that has made somebody feel bad, I beg forgiveness. But it is my duty to make everybody remind, Swabhava Raktasya Mahan Vitikramaha, remind that. It is not easy to change the Swabhava of the people. Our Swabhava has not changed after 20 years of practice of Krishna consciousness. How can you expect people's Swabhava just change like that? Okay, anyway, I don't want, it's only a discussion. Now, do we need to intensify in person who wants to join with desire to surrender, but it appears that he has ulterior motives of relief from responsibilities from outside? Should we evaluate or just quote these words and help him to join, wanting to understand principles of serving him properly? Now, I knew this and some question like this would come. Here, I intentionally wanted such a question to come because I would like to clarify. Joining as a brahmachari does not mean surrender. And not joining, somebody did not join as a brahmachari in the ashram, that doesn't mean he is less surrender. Surrender to Krishna is a more of a internal thing. But definitely, if a person is giving up swajanas, very difficult to give. If somebody is willing up to give the karma, like sadhu's definition is one who is willing up to give tektva swajanaha. What is that? What is that verse? Which Kapil Deviti Samvad. Madarthe Tekta Karmanaha Tektva Sujana Bandavaha. While describing the qualities of a sadhu, Titikshvaha, Karunika, Sudha Sardehinam, Ajadashatravaha, Shanta, Sadhavaha, Sadhubhushanaha. These are the secondary qualities of a sadhu. The primary qualities of the sadhu is Madarte, for the sake of Krishna. He is willing to give up his own swajana. Tekta Karmanaha. It is more difficult not to work than to work. Many are experiencing this thing. People are calling, Prabhuji, we are frustrated in our houses in lockdown. Better, office was better. I'm just waiting for the time when I'm going to office. Or the same person was telling, I'm suffering in my office. I had to work so much. Giving up karma is not easy. So if somebody is willing to give up, even the thought has come to give up karma and swajana, he should be encouraged. Narada is encouraging. Srila Prabhupada encouraged. And we have been doing that right from day one. When we joined ISKCON, why I joined, somebody encouraged. So there is no second thought about it. But definitely we need to tell them, you are joining the ashram to practice pure devotional service 24 hours a day. No attachment to post, no attachment to any position. Sadhu. So recommend that person to join the ashram to become a sadhu. Brahmachari is a material designation. But sadhu is a spiritual designation. Sadhu. Sadhu ashram. Become a sadhu. Sadhu means madarte, for the sake of Krishna, you are willing to give up. Definitely, nobody is going to give up because you are told. Nobody is going to join because you are told. It is their intense desire. Many people think that if somebody wants to give up their family and then serve Krishna, they will anyhow give up. Somebody wants to get married, they don't want to surrender to Krishna and then live another kind of life. Even if you force, you cannot do. So definitely, it is not whether you encourage or don't encourage them. We speak our philosophy. And if you want to be in the ashram, this is how you have to be. So we make our standard so perfect that the standard itself is a filter. Instead of trying to reduce the standard and then try to put somebody, adjust our standards according to people's mind. No. People have to adjust, those who want to join, adjust according to our standards. That is what is my answer to your question. Now, do we need to intensify, identify in a person who wants to join? Okay, that is done. Wanting to understand principle of serving him properly. Should evaluate or just quite quote this verse? Okay, I've answered this question. Wanting to understand principle of serving him properly. The principle is this thing. This is what his ashram standards are. This is what is the consciousness required to be in the ashram. Now, if you are able to follow these standards, and if you think that you are having this consciousness, come. Otherwise, you can have the same standards and same consciousness wherever you are. No problem. With your wife, your children, you can have. But very difficult. Here it is very easy. That's what you can tell. This is true. We always speak the truth. We don't want to cheat people, not cheat ourselves. Next. How can we reconcile Bharat Maharaj's life and Gajendra's life with this shloka? Okay. So, Bharat Maharaj's life and Gajendra's life in this shloka, if you see, that is the 17th verse, Tektva Sadharman. Now, Ajamil, what did he do? He continued his Krishna consciousness, his surrender. If you see, Ajamil, in his early life was a devotee, but for some reason or so, he apparently fell down. Now you should know, Prabhupada is quoting Ajamil's story for one purpose, as a commentary to Bhajan apakvaha pate tato yadi. For that line, he is giving Ajamil. There is no harm. Because whatever he has done before, that will continue later. So he is giving commentary for that particular verse, not Tektva Sadarmam Charanam Brujam Hare. Bhajan apakvaha. Whenever you read a commentary, there is always a particular word or a particular phrase being commented upon. So the whole story of Ajamil and Gajendra, Srila Prabhupada is quoting for the purpose of establishing this point. Pate tato yadi, both Gajendra and Ajamil, they fell down, but in spite of that, they continued. For that reason only this is quoted. Not that Tektva Swadharman happened by own intention, by his own desire. Okay. Next question from Dear Shant Prabhu. ISKCON preaching is done to class people, big donors, actors, politicians, IITs. So which is defined as class people? Oh, I don't agree. That here I specifically told class means Chakshanaha. Those who have the distinction, know the distinction between matter and spirit, and those who are not interested in any lower class enjoyment. Oh, you know, in only IITs, IIM colleges, toppers only class. I did not say that. I actually, in the class I told, that doesn't mean that. Okay, question from Anantago Prabhu. Definitely, those who are getting into those colleges, there is some sincerity in them that you have to accept. So if there is some sincerity, that is why they're able to crack some big positions. Of course, there's some karma also behind that. And one aspect is sincerity. They're really sincere to what they're doing. There are many people who don't go high in their positions because of lack of sincerity. Of course, the sincerity is misplaced. That is why when you go to these colleges, there's probability of getting sincere people is more, because anyhow they are sincere, they are already clustered together in one place. Of course, the sincerity is misplaced. That is a different thing. That is why those who are it is our experience also. Srila Prabhupada also catered to the people. If you go to some college, middle college, they just want some degree. They are there for the degree, not to really study or something like that. And most of the time they are into, of course, everybody in the sense enjoyment. The sincerity level is less. You may find some sincere people also. I'm not saying it is not that, but in general, these top colleges, they definitely have sincere people who want to know the truth. But that is not a blanket rule. Only in these colleges there are good people or high class people. Here Vichakshana refers to those who are Nivritta Sukham. Question from Anantago Prabhu. As per the instructions by Narada Muni and Lord Krishna, there is some confusion in heart for counseling. They are contradicting in some extent. Not some extent. Who told it? Some extent. Completely. Complete. Exactly opposite. Tektva Sadarman, and Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, Buddha Buddhi Vedam Janiyat. Exact. Because there, the purpose of Krishna telling that verse is to somehow bring them to the point of understanding that I am not this body, I am spirit soul. That can come only when they do karma mishra bhakti. That is why he says that don't disturb their mind, let them do. Just at least make them a life member. At least ask them come to a Sunday feast program with the family and get blessings on their birthday. So by doing so, they'll have some appreciation for ISKCON, appreciation for some devotee. In this way, some kind of sattva guna manifest, and they start thinking, let me hear Bhagavad Gita, let me just read one slok of Gita, like that. So they may, that is also a methodology, but that is to make a person to come to the platform of Jnana. And ultimately, Jnana Yoga, and ultimately it is Bhakti, it is Krama, it is step-by-step process. But Narada, he is Tektva Sadarman Charanamrajam, direct process of Krishna consciousness. He is just saying that they surrender to Krishna. Of course, they surrender to Krishna, when I say, it doesn't mean join ashram or not join ashram. It does not, surrendering to Krishna has nothing to do with your ashrama. If somebody is brahmachari is more surrendered, grihastha is less surrendered, that is not the case at all. Because surrender process is independent of ashrama, which is material. But when I say join the movement, it means that he has only one thing in the mind, that is serve the spiritual master, the mission of spiritual master. And many grihasthas are doing that. In the movement, I know many grihasthas who are more than 100 brahmacharis put together. They, for them, Guru Mukha Padmavatya Chitteti Kariya Aikya. That many brahmacharis don't have that. Going on, distributing books, on the road. Maharaj has to say, the target is 10,000 Gitas. They will not sleep whole night. Whole night. Just goes on in their mind. So they're people like that. So don't confuse surrender and ashram. Surrender has nothing to do with ashram. There are many people who are surrendered. Tektva Sadarman Charanambhajam Harer, though they may be living a life in the Grihastha ashram, because they have attained that consciousness. But there are some who have not attained that consciousness, even though living in the ashram. So it has nothing to do with that. So a Grihastha devotee, we may sometimes run away from our responsibilities in the pretext of verse 1.5.17. Please throw some light on this that we must not give up our own duties. On the pretext of 1.5.17, Tektva Sadarman Charanam Bhujam Harer. There are two parts in it. Tektva Sadarman, other part is Charanam Bhujam Harer. One is giving up responsibility and surrendering to Krishna. Okay, I'll give another. Only those grihasthas who are not bothered about pleasure and pain, even somebody criticizes you, you are smiling, they can definitely give up their responsibilities and join serve Krishna. But how many are there like that? For them, responsibilities have no value. So first get qualified to practice that verse. It is not that verse says you do it. Many verses say many things. But instructions are meant, different instructions are meant for different levels of audience. Now you have to attain that level to practice that instruction. Tektva Sadarman Charanam Bhajam, surrender to Krishna. Now you want AC at home. You want your husband or your husband to provide that kind of sari. I want that kind of mobile. No, I need to be respected. I need to ask for. Then you keep all the kachara in the mind, and at the same time say Tektva Sadarman. Narada told. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. So definitely you can keep in the heart. When is that time going to come? When I am going to be totally surrendered to Krishna, simultaneously perform your duties. Like Narada, in the 11th canto, it is clearly said, as long as we have not developed a taste for hearing about Krishna, till that time one has to follow the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. I don't know which it is the 11th canto. I forgot the beginning of the verse. Yavat karmani kurvita. Somehow one of you who are very fast in the computers, you got IIT brains. Get that verse and put it on the screen. Yavat karmani kurvita, that verse. Old age is taking over me. Where clearly says, as long as we have not developed taste for hearing about Krishna, hearing and chanting Krishna. And what is the meaning of hearing and chanting about Krishna? Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, he says, yes, atmartrivasya, atmatriptasya manava, atmaniva santustasya, tasya karyam nividyate. Who doesn't have any responsibilities? But a person who is satisfied in the self alone. One of the acharyas, Vaishnava acharyas, the Madhva says, when somebody is chanting the name of Krishna, when thinking of Krishna, now somebody brings a djembe, dundubi, and then he plays just next to you. You don't even listen to that. That kind of person can definitely tektva sadharman. He is totally absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So, especially this verse cannot be just taken as a as a pretext to give up one's responsibilities. Giving up one's responsibilities is sin. Without surrendering to Krishna. Of course, going further, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, while explaining the verse 11 plus 12, it is challenging to bring the right understanding to young students who have to show some faith to continue the education they have taken up, and lack of maturity to understand the correct application of these beautiful verses. Please guide. Hare Krishna. You are asking this question to a wrong person because to continue the education they have taken up. What you call as education these days is not education at all. First is, they should not have taken up this nonsense education. Now, if they have taken it up, they should complete it. If they want to leave it, repeat what I spoke in the answer to the previous verse. Are you self-satisfied? Yes, yatma ratiravasyat, atma triptasya manavaha, atmaneva atma santushtaha. When you chant Hare Krishna, tears roll through your eyes, you're totally engrossed in serving Krishna. Do you have the qualification? Ultimately, qualification. To give up something, you need to be qualified. What is that qualification? To be just completely dependent on Krishna. You still have desires for sense enjoyment, or at least pursuing desires of sense enjoyment. Then what to do? Then yavat karmani kurvita. Nobody found the verse. I'll try to find the verse. That verse also you should show to those the students. Then they'll become matured. And Hare Krishna, another question. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata. Note this, number 1129. Na matkata shravanadu va shraddha yavanna jayate. Shraddha yavanna jayate. See, as long as one is not situated by fruitive activity, satiated by fruitive activity, till that time, we should be very careful about it. Till that time, he should follow. Satisfied because you're done actually, you misguided people by writing Veda on the name of giving them truth. So that is true. That is what Narada's frustration is also. That is why without Bhagavatam, nobody can really come to the conclusion. Of course, we should also know, If you want to know the Veda, study the Veda, Bhagavatam and study the Veda. If you want to study the Mahabharata, you study Bhagavatam and then study Mahabharata. Because these are all just bringing us to the point of appreciating Bhagavatam. Like you asked this question, what is the purpose of compiling the Veda? The purpose of compiling the Veda is to bring all kinds of people to relish, to bring them to the point of relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. If that is not there, then what is the use? Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto, and atma bhakto, bhakti comes where? In Bhagavatam. In ISKCON, brahmacharis also keep touch with parents, etc. Especially as nowadays India TV line of issue happens. How to reconcile giving up family members and keeping touch with them. Yeah, you are keeping in touch means you are actually keeping them in touch with Krishna through you. If that is the consciousness, well and good. Otherwise, Haribol. Otherwise, what is use? You want to bring them in touch with Krishna. That is why you are in touch with them, because you are the media by which they can get in touch with Krishna. Unlimited brahmacharis, I have found in my kind of a unprofessional analysis survey, at least 50 to 60% of brahmacharis' parents have become devotees. 50 to 60% brahmacharis. Now, antagonistic, after joining also, hardly 10 or 20%. But the India TV people, they want only those 5-10% people to highlight, because they are interested in what is called TPR, what you call, they want the number of viewers. They are interested, so they want some masala. They want only negative news. That is why. So we just when the whole temperature is very hot, we become a little bit serious. Later on, we don't bother. We don't care. If you go on caring for all the bad publicity which has happened because of from ISKCON, you'll go mad. For that temporary period of time, we'll just become cautious, and later on, as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, ISKCON as it is, and it is, you know very well, and everybody knows it very well. ISKCON as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, ISKCON as it is. For some temporary period of time, we become very, be careful when you admit devotees, you take the record, take permission of the parents, all these things happen. After 2 months, as it is. Anyhow, what is the definition of Swabhava? And Swabhava means nature. The nature which is born by birth, which comes by birth, that is called Swabhava. And what was not the Swabhava of Ratnakar, Maghai? Oh, these examples, what Jagai, Madai, Mrigari, hippies, not changed. Okay, good question. See, when you say Kripa, Ahetuki Kripa, this is very Ahetuki Kripa, is the glory of Narada, glory of Nityananda Prabhu. It is the glory of Srila Prabhupada. Jagai Madai, changing is not Jagai Mada's glory. It is the glory of Nityananda's mercy. Now, anybody who gets that kind of mercy of Nityananda, they can change. Definitely. There is nothing impossible for Krishna. So, all these pastimes are the mercy, are the glory of the devotees, mercy. It is not a system that you become a hippie and then only become a devotee. Is it a system? No, it's not a system. Even the hippies were converted into Krishna conscious, because that is a glory of bhakti. That is a glory of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. The glory of Prabhupada is he made hippies into devotees. That is Prabhupada's glory. So bhakti is mentioned to change the swabhava. Yes, bhakti will change. How will it change? When it will change? What kind of bhakti will change? When you are engrossed in pure devotional service 24 hours a day. then only it will happen. Otherwise, it will not. Swabhava Vijayam Viraha. In the 11th canto, it is said, one who can change the Swabhava, the nature, is actually victory. And that happens with very intense, high level, intense devotional service. Question. And so when we say Swabhava can't be changed, then to minimize the power of bhakti, no, as I told just now, bhakti can change. But what kind of bhakti? It is pure devotional service. Karma Mishra Bhakti and Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti, they cannot. Even Sadhana Bhakti also, it gives an opportunity for change. It holds the Swabhava. But once you little bit slacken down from the Sadhana Bhakti, Swabhava comes up. That is why the words Karyena Vacha Manasendriyeva Vruddhyatmanava Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yajit Sakalam Parasvi Narayana. So you do bhakti according to your Swabhava. That means you engage your Swabhava in Krishna service. To such an extent, your mind is so fixed up in Krishna that you can even do some services which is against your Swabhava. So it says, Swabhava Vijayam Sauram. Oh, I quoted just on this word before I did. So this says that the real heroism is to conquer. Yeah, real heroism is that. When who becomes a real hero? Who is a real hero? One who is Swabhava Vijayaha Shauryam. That happens when practice pure devotional service, where there is no other thing, six qualities of six Kleshagni, Shubhada. In that Kleshagni, this comes, even you can overcome your Swabhava. So it is pure devotional service. Now, how rare it is. Not only pure devotional service is so wonderful, it is Durlabha, Sudurlabha, Moksha Lagutakrut. And just see our consciousness. We become disturbed because of some petty things, and we talk about pure devotional service 24 hours a day. So if you are able to do it, wonderful. But also in Gita, it says that people will work as their Swabhava. Kindly explain. Yes, because in Gita, this is explained to the person who is still within the modes of nature and is practicing Karma Mishra Bhakti. Yes, that verse has been put up. That is Tavat Karmani Kurvita Na Nirvidyeta Yavata Matkata Shravanadova Shraddha Yavan Na Jayate. When you have complete Shraddha, then it is first class. Okay, now we have more questions. How do you reconcile the fact that the Bhakti scriptures are so accommodating, at the same time expect following with pinpointed precision, like Bharata? Yeah. Bhakti scriptures are accommodated. It is meant for everyone because no material qualification is required to perform bhakti. Anybody can do. That is why it is accommodating. But at the same time, Shurasya Nita Dhurtaya, small mistake here and there, it will make you fall down. But what kind of fall down is it? That is described in the next verse. We'll discuss about that verse. Since you asked the question, I'll talk about this verse. The next verse. That is 18. 19th verse. We'll talk about the 18 later since you've spoken about that. Navai jano jatu katanchana vrajen mukunda sevyai anyadanga samsrutim smaram mukundangri upagohanam punar vihatamiche narasagraho jana. Savai jano jatu katanchana vrajen mukunda seva anyavad anga samsrutim. Even though a devotee in Krishna consciousness sometimes falls down, like you took the example Bharat Maharaj, even though sometimes may fall down, but his fall down is not the same as the experience of a non-devotee. He certainly does not undergo material existence like the fruitary workers. Both are different. Now here, the snakes don't fall down. The fruitary workers are like snakes. And the birds which are trying to fly up, they may fall down, but they come back again. For some time, temporarily, you may fall down. But that fall down is also the mercy of Krishna. That doesn't mean you go on going on falling down, saying that it's mercy of Krishna. It is to come to make the devotee understand that you are not the doer. Fall downs happen because of pride. The pride is that I am a devotee and I am doing devotional service on my strength. That is also pride. So Krishna says, oh, you are performing devotion on your strength. Do that. Fall down. So when you fall down, then Vihatumichena rasagraho jana. Oh Lord, remembering Upaguhanam Punar. He doesn't remember the lotus feet of Krishna. He remembers the happiness which he had experienced while performing devotional service. And then tells the Lord, oh Lord, I have only one desire, that is to think of Krishna. He doesn't say, I want to think of Krishna. He doesn't say, I will chant. He doesn't say, I will think. He says, oh Lord, I have just only desire. It is you who make me chant. It is because of you I am able to chant. It is because of you, oh, your devotees, that I am able to chant. It is you, and it is because of you and your devotees that I am able to think of you. It is you, because of you and your devotees, I am able to serve you. So then he surrenders. So this is a very, very special question. The fall down of a devotee and he coming back again to devotional path is a very special mercy of Krishna unto him to scrub out the residual pride which he had. What is the pride? I am a devotee. I am chanting. I will do. Oh, we are chanting. We are able to hear Bhagavatam. I'm able to speak Bhagavatam. It is because it is Krishna is making us do that. Do you think it is easy to sit for 2.5 hours and hear? Have you ever done this? Even in your engineering college, in your colleges? 2.5 years attending a class without even understanding how the time has passed? At least I did not do that. After 10 minutes, I used to sleep in the class. I was getting frustrated how to get out, in spite of knowing that exams are coming. If I don't pass in the exams, I not get a certificate, then no job. I'll be still. Where is the strength? It is not easy to sit for 2.5 hours and hear Bhagavatam. It is only possible because exclusive mercy of Krishna is flowing through you. He is making you hear. That is what Dhruva Maharaj said. He says that, oh Lord, it is because of you I am able to hear. Akhila Dhara Shakti Dhara Swadhamna. Anyamsta Hasta Charana Adim. Because of your mercy that I am able to hear about you. I am able to speak about you. So it is Krishna who makes us. When we forget, it is Krishna who is making us chant. It is Krishna who is making me. It is Krishna's mercy and devotee's mercy which is acting through me, by which I am able to sustain Krishna consciousness. When you forget this, that, oh, without you also I can perform offenses. So the only thing you have to be careful in Krishna consciousness is offenses. That is why it is very strict, and it is for everyone. It is accommodating, because anybody, even a hathi, an elephant, can perform devotion. Even a Shudra, dog eater, can perform devotion. Devotion is independent of any material qualification. That is why it is accommodating. At the same time, it is making you perfect to dance with Krishna. You have to go to Goloka and then dance with Krishna. You need to be perfect for that. This whole world is a training place. And now for that perfection, there should be some teaching. So it's a teaching. So Bharata and many other examples. So 19th verse is an example for that. I'm actually speaking on Savai Jano Jatu Katanchana Vrajen Avrajet Mukunda Sevai Anyavadanga Samsmritim. Anyavat. They don't suffer like others. Bharata Maharaj's fall down is not the fall down of Ravana. Is not the fall down like that. There is a difference. Because they experience special taste, even in their fallen down condition. How wonderful were those days when I used to attend Mangalarati. Sometimes I meet devotees. They say, Prabhuji, how wonderful were those days in the yatra. How wonderful were they? They remember that. Some smriti. Samaran mukundangri. Smaran means they remember. What they remember? The taste which is coming from the lotus feet of Krishna. Upaguhanam. And the taste which is coming from they embracing the lotus feet of Krishna. They don't say, I remember the lotus feet of Krishna. They say, I am remembering the fragrance, the enjoyment, the bliss which came out of embracing the lotus feet of Krishna. And now I have only one desire. Vihatamichen narasagraho jana. That is what it says. Okay, going further. This is the verse you wanted to be presented to all along, as one is not situated by fruitive activity and was not awake in taste and Krishna service. Yeah. One has to act according to the regulative principles. Yes, yes. True. Okay. So we'll go to the further verses. That is 18th verse. Dukkhavadanyata sukham kalena sarvatra gavira ramhasa. Kalena sarvatra gavira ramhasa. So we are talking so much of surrendering to the lotus feet of Krishna. So now there are many scriptures which talk about going to higher planets. You have to go to Swarga, go to Pitraloka, like that. Vedas talk about so many destinations, but devotee is intelligent. He's not interested in any destination other than Golok Vrindavan Dham. Because Vedas talk about going to Brahmaloka, they talk about Tapaloka, Maharloka, Swargaloka, but a devotee is not interested in going to these lokas. What to speak of going to America and settling in America? Devotee is only interested in going to Goloka. Their goal is to go to Golok Vrindavan, not America. Not get American visa. Oh, let me go there and that's my goal of my life. No. The goal of life for a devotee is to go with Kovidaha. Tasyeva heto prayateta kovidau. Nalabhyate dharmatyam varyadha. Because that place is the place where you don't have repeated birth and death. All the other places in the world is full of repeated birth and death. Now, Tallabhyate dukkhavadanyata sukham kalena sarvatra kabira ramhasa. What is the consciousness of a devotee? It is like this. He knows. Tallabhyate dukkhavat anyata sukham. He doesn't endeavor for happiness. We are all endeavoring for happiness, comfort. But a devotee doesn't endeavor for happiness and comfort. Why? Because he knows. Kalena, by time, whenever dukkha has to come, it will come. Whenever sukha has to come, it will come. It doesn't matter. Time is a thing which brings sukha and dukkha. Like, kalena sarvatra gabira ramhasa. Tallabhyate dukkhavat. We get misery without endeavor. Do you try to become miserable? No. Without trying to become miserable, we become miserable. In the same way, without trying to become happy, we become happy. So, happiness and distress, it comes according to its own will, according to time. That is why, as for the happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. Kalena sarvatra kabir rahmasa. Everywhere, it is available everywhere. Sarvatra. Tallabhyati dukkvad anyatha sukham tasyeva hetu. So in this way, one should become an intelligent person, and he should not waste his time in endeavoring to achieve some happiness in this world or happiness in the next world. He should be peaceful. Only those people who are like this, they are actually the question which was there, how to reconcile the fact that bhakti scriptures are accommodating and at the same time expect following the principles pinpointed precision. न वै जनो जातु कदाञ्चन व्रजेन् मुकुन्द सेव्यन्यवदङ्ग संस्मृतिम् परं मुकुन्दाग्र्युपगोहनं पुनर्विहातुमिच्छेन रसग्रहो जना. So a devotee is so glorious that even though, as being spoken in the previous Tektva Sudharmam Sharanam Abhajan Apakpa Patet. Now that is explained in this words, Patet. The patan of a devotee is special. That is also mercy of Krishna. When a devotee falls down, that is actually mercy of Krishna. That is why he fell down. Because Krishna wants to teach him a lesson. What do he wants to teach him? He wants to teach him, be humble. Because there may be pride which comes because of practice of devotion. I am chanting better than you. I know more slokas than you. Oh, gone. Oh, you know more slokas than me? Sorry. Krishna says, you know more slokas? Okay, I'll show you how much slokas you know. Krishna cannot tolerate one thing, pride. For that, he slaps. When Krishna slaps, imagine what will happen. It will be a bigger slap than Maya's slap. So that is a slap because of pride. Mukunda Sevya never anga sanspratim. But when Krishna slaps, when you fall down, he holds also. So there is a difference in suffering of a devotee when he falls down, and there is a difference difference between a devotee and a non-devotee who actually falls down. He actually fallen down. The suffering of a non-devotee is different from the suffering of a devotee, because suffering of devotee is covered up by the remembrance of the experience what he had when he is performing devotional service. That is why Smaram Mukundangri Upagohanam Punaha. Upagohanam means when I embrace the lotus feet of Krishna, I felt special happiness. And now the devotee is remembering that happiness. And the remembrance of that happiness which he had previously, that is making forget the miseries what he is experiencing now. So while remembering that happiness, what does he do? Says that I only, O Lord, I don't want to give up your lotus feet again. Please take me back. I only desire. I can only desire. Earlier, I was thinking I am doing, but now just I desire to do. So a special teaching Krishna wants to give. What is the teaching? Even devotion can be done by my mercy. We are able to chant because Krishna's mercy is there on us. What happens? We forget his mercy. We forget devotee's mercy on us. And that time the fall down has started. And Krishna makes that to happen so that you realize you'll be completely dependent, you're completely humble. To make you humble, Krishna designs ways and means. In that, one of the ways and means is fall down. Okay, let me read the purport. A devotee, 19th verse. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the entangled material existence because he is rasagraha, one who has tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of Krishna. There are certainly many instances where devotees of the Lord have fallen down due to uncongenial association, just like foodie workers who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, a devotee is never to be considered the same as fallen karmi. A karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive reactions, whereas the devotee is reformed by the chastisement directed by the Lord. It is mercy of the Lord. Just imagine if Krishna scolds you, is it not mercy? Even in the material life, it happens. I know we as young boys, small boys, 7, 8-year-old boy, we used to do some nuisance intentionally used to do. And mother used to come and beat and scold. We used to laugh. Ah, nice. Feel happy when being beaten by mother. Because you neglected me. Now some or other you pay attention to me and beat. So getting beaten by mother is actually mercy of mother. And you become happy of it because of it. The same way devotee should be happy. Because he's slapped by Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says that a karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive actions, whereas a devotee is reformed by what is that reformation? By chastisement. What is that reformation? Pride. Now, going further, the suffering of an orphan and the suffering of a beloved child of a king are not the one and the same. Just see what the example Prabhupada gives. Orphan is suffering and a king's child is also suffering, but there is a difference. Nobody will take care of the orphan. The king, Krishna is personally taking care of the devotee. The Lord's son, a rich man, although he appears to be the same level as an orphan, is always under the vigilance of the capable father. A devotee of the Lord, due to wrong association, sometimes imitate the fruity workers. Wrong association. Fruity workers. The fruity workers want to lord it over material world. Lord, pride. The same lording tendency come to us, pride. Similarly, devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating execute his devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said the fallen devotee is given chance to take birth in the families, and Prabhupada gives a normal purport to it. And यतो जगत्स्थान निरोध संभवा तद्धे स्वयं वेद भवांस्तथापि ते आदेश मात्रं भवत प्रदर्शितम्. He is concluding his actual teachings of Bhagavatam and says, Idam hi vishwan bhagavani vetharo, remembering Krishna. Narada is remembering Krishna and says, Idam, the Supreme Lord, Idam hi vishwam bhagavani vetaraha, itaraha is not different. The Supreme Lord himself is this world. You think he is speaking Mayavad philosophy. Narada is not a Mayavad. He'll explain why. Jagat sthana nirodha sambhavaha. Because Supreme Lord and there is this world, both are non-different from each other because this world is emanating from Krishna's energy. From Krishna's body, there is energies which are emanating, expanding, and transforming. So since this world is a transformation of Krishna's energy, that is why sometimes or many times in the scriptures it is told sarvamidam what is this whole world is nothing but Krishna's energy. Idam hi vishwam bhagavani vetaro yato jagat sthana nirodha sambhava. From him manifest this world. From him is maintained. Nirodha. Nirodha means winding up. Sambhavaha. Tadde swayam veda bhavan satapite pradesha matram bhavata pradarshitam. So, taddihi swayam veda bhavan satapite. Oh, Vyasa, you know about this. Taddihi swayam veda. You know. Bhavan statapite, even though you know, pradesha matram bhavata pradarshitam. Pradesha means this much. Prabhupada translated, I given only a synopsis. Pradesha matram means synopsis. Synopsis, pradesha actually this much. Like you say, whole big thing, only this much. Condense everything into this much and tell you. So, after teaching devotional service, Narada is talking about Krishna's connection with the world. Krishna's connection with the world is a very unique subject matter, that is Ishvara Jada Veda. How Krishna connects himself with the world, how the world is connected with Krishna. This world is nothing but Krishna's energy. Sarvam Kalvidam Jagat, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. There are so many instances in the Vedic literature which talks about Krishna and his world connection. So let us read the purport and then see certain points we can discuss about. For a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda, Lord Krishna, is both personal and impersonal. The impersonal cosmic situation is also Mukunda because it is an emanation of energy of Mukunda. For example, a tree is a complete unit, whereas the leaves and branches of the tree are emanated parts and parcels of the tree. The leaves and branches of the tree are also tree, but the tree itself is neither the leaf nor the branch. Achintya Veda Tattva has been described. The Vedic version of the whole cosmic pure creation is nothing but Brahman, means that everything, since everything is emanating from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from him. Similarly, the part and parts of hand and legs are called body, but the body as a whole unit is neither the hand nor the leg. So the Lord is transcendental from form. Activated conditional souls under the influence of external energy Maya are therefore entrapped in the network of inclination. They accept this as all, but they have no information of God, who is the primary cause, nor have the information in hands or legs. Nor have the information that the part and parcel of the Lord, being detached from the whole body, are no longer the same as when attached to the body. Similarly,
Speaker is not working. Your speaker. हमारे स्पीकर में नहीं दिख रहा है बट उनका भी नहीं आ रहा है भक्ति वैभव प्रो वगैरह उधर से आवाज नहीं आ रहा है हाँ सबका नहीं आ रहा है ना सब लोग बोल रहे हैं म्यूट कर दिया था हमारे स्पीकर में भी कुछ नहीं आया ये आपने म्यूट तो नहीं कर दिया है नहीं नहीं म्यूट है पूछ रहा है वो नहीं है प्रभु जी को देखो म्यूट कर दिया नहीं किया प्रभु जी कहीं क्यों करूंगा अरे हो जाता है we are able to hear
Hare Krishna.
Pradarshtam. So Narada is telling Vyasa, oh Vyasa, you know whatever I have already spoken, but I'm just explaining to you because it is a system in the Vedic literatures that Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One has to learn. So I came to teach you the Bhagavatam, and you please expand on whatever I have spoken to you. Not only that, I spoke to you Bhakti in the previous few verses. Now I'm going to speak to you the philosophy of Krishna uh, in connection with this world. This world is Krishna, at the same time is not Krishna because Krishna manifests this world through his energies. And our philosophy is known as Shakti Parinamvad. Now, those who are actually sincere students of Srimad Bhagavatam should remember this phrase called Shakti Parinamavad because there are so many philosophies in describing about what is the nature of this world in connection with the Supreme Lord or how did this world arise. So there are Brahma Parinamvad, there is Vivartavad, there is Drishtishtivad, there are so many different philosophies. But the philosophy what the Gaudiya Vaishnavas we follow is known as Shakti Parinamvad, the theory of transformation that pertains to the Supreme Lord. For that, there is very beautiful verse in the Upanishads or the mantras in the Upanishad. Parasi Shaktir Vividheva Shuyate. Parasi Shaktir Vividheva Shuyate. The Supreme Lord's energy is transformed into different forms. That is how we understand this world. So after speaking about this, now in the 21st words, Kamatmanatmanam Kamatmanatmanam Avetamokadrik Parasya Vamsa Paramatmanakalam Ajam Prajatam Jagata Shivayatam Mahanubhav Adhyudayo Diganyatam. So in the next verse, he says, Oh Vyasa, Tvam Atmanatmanam Avid Amogadrik. Amogadrik. Your vision is perfect and your knowledge is perfect. Now he is encouraging Vyasa. Parasya Pumsaha Paramatmana Kalam. Who are you? You are none other than incarnation of Krishna. Paramatmana Kalam. And Ajam Prajadam Jagatat Shivayatam. And you are birthless, Ajaha. And Ajam Prajatam Jagatat Shivayatam. And you appeared on this world with this world only for the benefit of Shivaya, for the benefiting the people. And Mahanubhavo Vyudayo Digamyatan. And Mahanubhava, Supreme Lord, Abhyudaya Adi Ganyatam. Describe what you do. You describe about Krishna more elaborately. So, if you see in the previous verses, 13th verse, one instruction was given by Narada to Vyasa. You Samadhi Nanusmara. You go to Samadhi and then contemplate, engross yourself into devotional service. Then you are able to see whole pastimes of Krishna. And what you do, you write it. That means here he is telling you write a book called Bhagavatam, which is description of the Supreme Lord based on whatever I have taught you. So that is what he is telling in the 21st verse. That is why at the end, Srila Prabhupada says that, but because he is doing the work of an Acharya, he has taught us by his own conduct that one must have a spiritual master. So in every incarnation, the Lord comes and he teaches one should have a spiritual master. Even in Vyasa, when he came and wrote all the Vedas, Upanishads, and he has written the Vedanta Sutras, Mahabharata, Purana, still Vyasa himself has shown that I need to accept a spiritual master. Like Prabhupada said, Lord Krishna, Rama, Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, all incarnation accepted formal spiritual masters, although by their transcendental nature they are cognizant, they know everything. The same way, though Vyasa knew everything, it is a system that we accept a spiritual master, Narada. Now, in order to direct people in the general to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, he himself, his incarnation Vyasa, is deliberating and delineating the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. He is going to write Bhagavad. Next, 22nd verse. I'll just do this verse and then stop for today. Idam hipamsas tapasas sutas deva Twishtasya suktasya buddhi dattayo avichatortaka vibhed nirupito iduttama shloka gunanu varnanam. Now, idam hi pumsaha tapasaha shrutasya va. Learned circles have positively concluded that infallible purpose of advancement of knowledge, namely austerity, study of Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in the choicest poetry. That is nothing but Uttama Shloka. So, whatever I have described now to you, my dear Vyasa, developed for advancement of you don't understand that culmination of perfection or self-realization depends on Vishnu. Vishnu Maya means sense enjoyment, which is transient and miserable. Those who are entrapped by Vishnu Maya utilize advancement of knowledge for sense enjoyment. Sri Narad Muni has explained all the paraphernalia of cosmic universe is but an emanation of the Supreme Lord out of different energies, because the Lord has set it into motion. By his inconceivable energy, the actions and reactions of the great manifestation. They have not come by to be of his own. They have come to be out of his energy. They rest on his energy and to him. Nothing is therefore different from him. But at the same time, the Lord is different from them. So the philosophy that how all the manifestations of Krishna uh, are, all are manifestations of Krishna. So with all there is any subject, it is all leading to descriptions of Krishna. So you just write one book, that's enough, in which all other things which are mentioned in the Vedas, all the things which go by the name of knowledge, all the activities which go by the name of auspiciousness, everything will be contained in that particular book. And you should write a book in such a way that it is not required to read any other book. That is why in the Bhagavatam, in the very beginning, it says, Ishvara Sadhyo Kimma Parairi Ishvara Sadhya. If you have Bhagavatam, why you require any other book for self-realization? So that book you need to write. Ultimately uses instruction and then tells the glory of what I have described, that is bhakti, can only be revealed by a proof. I am the proof for it. Then, the next verse onwards, Narada speaks about his previous life. Now, the story of Narada starts from now onwards till the end of the chapter and to the next or the entire sixth chapter. Why Narada is speaking about himself is he wants to show the glory of devotion. That he was nobody practically. He was son of a maid servant. Son of a maid servant means he doesn't know who is his father. That is the most obnoxious birth anybody can get. Not knowing father means just imagine how it is. Even such a person attained spiritual world in just one lifetime. That is the power of devotion. So that is what he wants to talk about himself. Actually, talking about himself, no one should do, talking about themselves. But Narada is doing it out of great humility. Listen to my own life, Narada, Vasa. I was born as a maid servant's boy, small boy, ignorant, no schooling, nothing. But within one lifetime, just not many years also, I achieved the highest perfection, that is a spiritual body. So, Narada story starts from 24th verse onwards. Te mai apeta kila chapalirbhake ante drakridantake nuvartini chakru kripam yadyavitulya darshana sushrushmane munayulpa bhashini. So, qualities, alpa bhashini, etc. We do it tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Monday. So, I was told that it is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today is Thursday. I think it starts next Monday. I hope I'm correct. Hare Krishna. Any questions? You can. Question. One who accepts this process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God will never blunder on his path in this world. Even while running with eyes closed, he will never trip or fall. 11.2.35. Yes. Continue. As the verse says that sometimes devotees fall down. Now, if you see the verse which talks about the fall of a devotee, technically speaking, the devotees don't fall. I'll give you an example. Sometimes in a circus, there are people who are balancing themselves on a rope like this. They go take a big pole and go on And then what happens is sometimes they may fall. Actually, don't fall, they may fall. There's a net there. Even if they fall. Now, for that sake, you have to go to that verse. Tikva Swadharman Charanambujam Hare. Open that verse. Tikva Swadharman. 17th verse. See that line. Bhajan apakwot apakwot pate tato yadi. The word yadi refers to they don't fall down. But even if they fall down. So the case is of extreme case. That is why Srila Prabhupada says, even while running with closed eyes, he will never fail or trip because he has held the hand of his spiritual master. If you have held the hand of your spiritual master, even though you are going running with closed eyes, you will not fall down. But that is not the system. The system is you have to keep your eyes open only. It is only to show that it is your faith in the spiritual master which you continue fearlessly. You will not fall down. But the fall down is only an extreme case. It doesn't happen. But even the fall down is actually not a fall down because it's a correction. You see it as a fall down, but actually Krishna sees it as a correction. Others may see it as a fall down, but Krishna sees it as a correction. Correction is no more a fall down. So what can be considered as direct mercy of the Lord? If a devotee falls and also gives up the process and not yet resumed his sadhana, but do we see many devotees leave KC and take to material life? This is what the demon of Shakatasura represents. That once past habits come back again. I don't know how to connect this Shakatasura thing. Shakatasura thing is the story is the pastime is when you hear the story of Shakatasura, the bad habits which have been continuing from the previous because of previous inspirations, Krishna will kick them out. So when a sadhaka, when he's practicing Krishna consciousness, the bad habits actually come again and again. So by the strength of Krishna consciousness, one can kick him out. So this is a separate subject actually. When you talk about the fall down, if a devotee falls and also gives a process, has not yet resumed his sadhana, you are seeing him as fall down and not resumed sadhana. Krishna has some special plan and Krishna has something to do with him. So better we restrict ourselves to our Krishna consciousness and our service to our spiritual master and our progress, rather than analyzing and making a thesis on somebody's fall down. It's not good. Devotee, he is there, his spiritual master is there, their mentors are there, and Krishna is there. So they are taking care of him. So let us concentrate on our own thing rather than any other thing. So we stop here. Prabhuji, you made a point that we need to be qualified to give up anything. What that applies to ceremonies like Shraddha, which are otherwise mandatory for Grihasthas. There are so many things we give up at a very immature stage. It is just an imitation or a part of our plan. In pure devotional service, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, a devotee can continue doing their ritualistic activities without faith. And jnana karmadi anavritam. So those karmas which don't obstruct our pure devotional service can be performed without faith. Just for the sake of doing. Like for example, grihasthas are there, and now they're so fixed up in Krishna consciousness, but they sometimes have to do some family obligations. They can do for as a sake of obligation, they can do and come. But as far as the brahmacharis are concerned, they need not do. And even I recommend they should not do also. It is not good because in ISKCON, brahmachari is as good as sannyasi. And sometimes Shraddha, okay, you may go and then do some kirtan and then come back. And sometimes if you are the eldest son and it is your responsibility, though it is not your responsibility, sometimes when you go to Badri here and there, just get something done. But it should be done as only a obligation. That's all. If a brahmachari changes ashram and talking about in a community of devotees is not Vaishnava Aparadh. Raghunath Bhatt Goswami would never hear the criticism of a devotee, even if it was true. Actually, only brahmacharis can change ashram. Brahmacharis can become grahasthas. What is the problem in that? Actually, the Smritis say, you can give your daughter only to a qualified brahmachari. Only a qualified brahmachari can accept a girl. In ISKCON, somehow these terminologies are totally confused. You let us go to scripture. Whom you should give your daughter to? You should give your daughter to a brahmachari. You will give a daughter to your daughter to a dog or what? You will not give a daughter to a dog. You will not give a daughter to your anybody. You give a daughter to a brahmachari. So it is somehow we are just 50-year-old movement. That is why the social system is not really set up. You become a brahmachari at the age of 5 or 6. After your Upanayana, if you are a Brahmin, 6 years. Once Upanayana is done, you become a brahmachari. And you study till the age of 25. And then you get married. If you want, you can continue and then take up sannyas. If you are a Kshatriya, you join the Gurukul at the age of 7, 8, like that. And then you are like 20, 21, you are out and you get married. Only then, because what has happened is, the brahmachari ashram, so-called brahmachari, starts at the age of 24. That itself is wrong. See, it is non-Vedic. More Krishna consciousness to spread. That is why brahmachari. I joined as a brahmachari at the age of 24. What is this? Because of what you are dog. That is the problem. That is why we have a great responsibility to start Gurukuls. Because we need to train everybody as a brahmachari. And among them, 90-95% are going to get married. Of course, we require, because girls are also, not that only boys are born, and girls require qualified brahmacharis. Otherwise, what is going to happen if they are not trained as brahmacharis? The girls will only get a dog, not a husband. So, of course, I'm just talking about the first part of your question, that is a brahmachari change ashram, that I just took the point in talking to you. So when you say community means Gurukul, brahmachari training. Brahmachari training starts at the age of 6 and 7 under Gurukul. Not that you send your child to St. Xavier's and they learn ding dong bell, pushes in the well and what all the things. Nonsense. That is dog. Dog is training. All the schools and colleges, it's nothing but a slaughterhouse. For 20 years, you send a child to a slaughterhouse, your daughter or son to a slaughterhouse, and how can you expect that person to be brahmachari? So, the lot of work is there. There is big work left on us, a big responsibility. Don't be just concerned about somebody changing ashram, something happened, that happened, community. Actually, we have just begun our real work, that is set up Varnashram. We just started. Now all the devotees, they should work hard to set up a concrete Gurukul, where everything is taught according to the tendency of the child. So a lot of work is left. Don't waste your time in talking about that brahmachari, this happened, that happened, this happened. Why waste time? It is more than Vaishnava Aparadh, wasting time. Vaishnava Aparadh is happening because of consciousness, which are conditioned consciousness. So let us not waste time. Do something concrete to establish a social system, socio-economic system of our movement, right? And that can happen when you start and establish a standard Gurukul, where you produce strong, able men, and the women are trained in their houses very nicely to be obedient and to be very sincere and very devotional. So this training is lacking. So don't get too serious about these mishaps happening in the temples, and just try to neglect and try to go ahead, have a bigger vision which Srila Prabhupada gave us. That is to start Gurukul and make sure the socio-economic situation of a movement becomes stable. Contribute towards that. Don't criticize. Yeah, yeah. If it is, if they're Vaishyas, 17, 18, they should get married. If the Kshatriyas, 20, 21. Brahmins can, because they require more time for learning. That is why best time is to 24, 25. Till that time, they have the capacity to study. Once they have given up studies, they should take up responsibility. Taking up responsibility means getting married and getting maintain the family, finding a livelihood. So, depending on the nature of a person, his capacity to study. If his capacity to study and then be alone and be happy throughout life, well and good. Otherwise, 25, like 20, 17, Vaishya should get married earlier. Earlier they get married, better, because their capacity to study is not so much. That's what it is. Let us get back to the principles of Varnashrama, which the Prabhupada wanted to establish. That's what I can say. Okay, we stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.